Invocation and pledge. Dr. Richardson, would you do the honors, please?
Sure.
Since I didn't ask you ahead of time, I'll put you on the spot.
All right, Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to gather here today. Please guide us in our decision making. Help us do the best job that we can for the college and community. In the name we pray. Amen. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Consideration and approval of agenda.
Move to approve.
There's a motion from Dr. Richardson to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Seconded by Dr. Hager. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Consideration and approval of minutes of the September board meeting.
Motion we accept them.
Mr. Ferguson makes the motion. Mr. Garrison seconds. All in favor?
Doctor.
You can be a doctor. These are doctors and you're Mr. All in favor? Say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Consideration of college financial report. Ms. Eubank?
Turn in your board books to page 7. This is year to date. Looking at this fiscal year, this is the end of August compared to last year at the same time. So very similar to what you saw last month for July. Big difference there is in your federal grants revenue category, and that's because we had so much of the CARES money in the last fiscal year, so that throws off that comparison just a bit in that category. So that was just that's a one-time thing. On the next page, on page 8, then looking at expenses, you can see we're very comparable there, if not just a little bit below, so good there. And then on page 9, looking at revenues minus expenses, again, looks like we're quite a bit behind last year, but that is because of that federal grant category and that one-time money from last year. So once you factor that out, we're pretty much right on target. Following that are just the details of those numbers. And then looking on page 12, looks at September, preliminary September numbers. So that's 25% into our fiscal year. At the top half, looking at our revenues, good start to fall in our tuition and fees category. Other categories falling in line where you would expect them. On the bottom half, then looking at expenses, sort of using that 25% as a benchmark. You can see most of our categories are well within that range. Scholarships always, of course, run just a little bit ahead because they're parceled out more by semester. Following that then are just the details of those numbers, including on page 14 looking at our capital budget. Some of those same projects we talked about last month are continuing along. And then on page 15 we have some proposed budget amendments that just true up some of the numbers that we had as estimates in our original budget, primarily for appropriations and some of our CARES funding and reserve projects, as those numbers have been bid out and solidified. So that just kind of brings us up to actuals on some of those numbers. Following that, then we're looking at our cash and banks. On page 18, in our cash position, we can see that that's a little bit of an uptick. This is as of October 3rd, so we've processed our fall financial aid, so that always increases our cash position a bit. So comparable to where we would be this time in the fiscal year. Following that is our certificates of deposits. We don't have any changes to that this month. And then we also don't have any bids outstanding to report this month. So that concludes my report. If you have any questions.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Garrison to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Dr. Hager seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Charlotte. Dr. Payne, residence report.
Thank you. We'll start off with just a mention about the No One Walks Alone Suicide Prevention Walk. We had everything set up. It was just about to get started. It just barely got started and then it got rained out. So successful event in building some awareness, and would have been a little nicer if we could have done the entire thing. And I'm going to ask Miss Gail Tinsley to come forward and speak of the college transfer fair.
You've seen those pictures yet, those are neat. On September 28th, we had our college transfer fair, and we had it over in the Plaster lobby. We had 16 universities here, and we had over 50 students of Third Rivers who came by, and it was a bonus. We had a preview day for high schools that day, so we had another 90 to 100 high school students. So it was a good opportunity. Most of those universities we have transfer agreements with, and also as we do those transfer fairs, I'm making contacts with those recruiters, and so that we can work on those more transfer agreements with the other universities. So it was a good opportunity for our Three Rivers students to meet with those universities and talk to them about the opportunities they had to transfer and scholarships and those kinds of things. We're gonna have another one in March, so this was the first one that we had in the fall, and I think it was a good opportunity for the students to start thinking as they're either starting or getting ready to graduate in the spring. So, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tinsley, and I'll ask that our athletic director, Ms. basketball coach, Coach Brian Best, come forward and speak to us about Raider Madness.
Yeah, so September 30th, we had Raider Madness, which was actually at midnight, so October 1st was the first day we could have official practice. And we had to do things to kind of waste time and spend time before it became midnight where each team could practice. So we had Maya Bergdorf won the Lady Raiders 3-point shooting contest, and then Mo Niang won the men's 3-point shooting contest. And then Caleb Young won the dunk contest, which they had a really cool picture in the newspaper of him dunking over Webb. He jumped over Webb and dunked and won the dunk contest. It wasn't a great dunk contest. I think we missed more than we made. I think we'll probably have to change the platform a little bit on that. I think we gave them too long to try different dunks, but it was a good time management thing, I thought. So the crowd likes dunks, so that was pretty cool. And then the Lady Raiders scrimmage, I think they had 3 3-minute scrimmages, and then the men followed after that. So we actually had a really good crowd, and especially for midnight, the older we get, the less we like to stay up that late. And Dr. Hager was the MC. I think he had a good time, and he got all jacked up on Mountain Dew. He got the crowd going, kind of like esports did on Meet the Raiders. He had all that going, so it was a lot of fun. And but we did have a good crowd for that time. I wasn't sure if we would or not. And that's all I have for Raider.
Very good.
Unless you have any
Anybody?
questions.
Any questions?
It was a fun time, even though it was late on a Friday night, but it was still fun. It was a good time. And you got some good video too. I saw some on social media of the dunk stuff. So
Yeah.
that looked good.
Good deal. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Now I'm gonna ask that Coach Chad Phipps come and talk about the rodeo we just had.
I mean, literally just that.
Yes.
I still haven't slept late. Better this year than it's been the previous 5 years. Still not where I wanted to be, but we didn't lose money. So this year we haven't got all the total numbers yet, but just over 5,000 at the gate, which is a 10% up from last year, and it's growing every year. Thursday, Friday night was definitely a lot bigger than it's ever been. Saturday was off, but Sykeston had scheduled a couple of events, one being half a mile down the road that was free for kids from 2 to 6. As I left to go meet with Dr. Payne after the rodeo for supper, I drove by there, and there was 1,000 to 1,200 people, parents and kids out there at the free thing. Michelle Reynolds, who worked with me on this in Miss Shanine's place this year, and Miss Edie, Michelle has talked to the Chamber of Commerce, and they are going to try to keep any and all other events off the board next year for that date, because they all enjoy the rodeo so much, and they want to see it be successful as well as the JC. We did have Cowboy Kenny all 3 nights, and they got to perform all 3 nights this year. gonna say that I wouldn't have bit the bullet for some rain one night, just for the rest of the southeast Missouri, but, we did get a little bit on Wednesday, but, as far as the rodeo goes, I thought it went pretty good. Bunch of things always happen that people in the stands don't know about that I do that gets my blood pressure up, but we got through it, and I think it's growing, and I do believe, I think there's a lot of things to work for. The JC, as a matter of fact, yesterday when I was over there getting some stuff, the chairman this year had met me over there, and he believes that they're working on trying to do more things at their rodeo to implement our rodeo because they like our rodeo so much. So I hope it continues to grow. I think it will. I would like to see around 500 to 750 people a night. 500 to 750 people a night would be the ultimate goal, where we can actually do pretty good every year off this. So the team didn't do very well. We're in a rebuilding year. Colton Menace, who just came back from a broken jaw, he went 4th or 5th in the average, I think. And then Colby Krieger, who's been winning every week, that made the college national final last year. He didn't get anything done this weekend, so we didn't have a very good showing. But as far as rodeo goes, it was great. So, any questions? First off, how many was there? I know you were. Alright, now I'm gonna have to come around and spank some hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Very well done. It was, from the stands, everything went just like clockwork. So
Thank you.
we'll cover some upcoming events. Music Department Fall Showcase, October 25th. It's a free show, 7 to 9 p.m. at the Tenon Fine Arts Center. FAFSA Frenzy, October 25th, 26th. So we're going to help some students fill out their financial aid forms. University Center Open House coming up on October 26th, 10 to 3, right out here in the hall. Murder Mystery Dinner, Endowment Trust event that will be aimed towards supporting our partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. 6 p.m. dinner, 7 p.m. showtime. Trunk or Treat, October 29th from 5 to 8 in the Tenon Fine Arts Center parking lot. So this is an event put on by our Student Leadership Academy. It's a really great event. It's, of course, kid-friendly, family-friendly. Encourage everybody to bring their kids out. First Friday Coffee, the college will be hosting the First Friday Coffee on November 4th with the Chamber of Commerce from 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. and that will be in the lobby of the Tenon Fine Arts Center. Red Cross Blood Drive, November 8th, 10 to 3 in the Best Conference Room and Best Activity Center. And Kennett Trivia Night is November 10th at the Kennett Country Club. Doors open for dinner at 5. Trivia begins at 6, $150 per team, and we still have sponsorship opportunities available. And all the funds raised from that go towards helping Kennett students bridge any gap that's identified in their needs, whether it's a book or sometimes it's a flat tire. That money gets put to great uses that really do help our students persist in their education. And then our second center stage show, Mamma Mia, will be November 11th through the 20th, both matinees and evening shows available. Tickets are on sale through Ticket Leap, through the Tenon Fine Arts Center website, at students' account, or in the Tenon Gallery. $10 a ticket, and this will be directed by Mr. Steve Lewis. And that, Mr. Chair, is the President's report, and we do not have any executive session.
Well, then let's forge on.
Nor do we have any items for consideration or vote, only personnel.
Well, then let's talk about personnel. Would you like to make that motion?
I'd like to make a motion to accept all recommendations and related personnel and related documents.
There you go.
Sorry, I knew I messed that
I
up.
knew you would, I knew you would too. Rookies. There's a motion on the floor to approve, all personnel decisions and related documents made by Mr. Garrison, seconded by Mr. Featherston. All in favor? This is a roll call.
Trustee Featherston?
Yes.
Trustee Richardson?
Yes.
Trustee Hager?
Yes.
Trustee Garrison?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes. So that will move us to adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
15 minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is that
We're
right?
adjourned.
We're gonna need time on that, 'cause that's official record.
So
right there.
16.
I think you hold.
Do I
She
have
was
a
at,
record?
no,